Probably about, hey everybody! This is the live edition of Two Legs. This is a special edition of Two Legs. We're gonna just take a break from our Paul McCartney banter, and we're just gonna have some fun talking about a little time out, and we're just gonna have a little fun talking about other albums that we love. So this is part one of a three-part series where we just gonna
talking about a little time out, and we're just gonna
wait a minute. There you go.
Feedback. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, we're gonna have a little fun. This is part one of a three-part series. Where we're gonna discuss our 30 favorite non-Beatles and Beatles-related albums. So it can't be a Beatles album, and it can't be a solo Beatles album.
There was a rule that my partner put into this that you could not have more than one submission per group or artist.
Right, exactly. So yeah, there was a couple stipulations. One was like Andy said, if you love. If Genesis has 5 albums that you love absolutely in your top 30, you can only have one of them in there. So it made it a little tougher. However, there's the loophole that if you love Genesis and you also love Phil Collins, I mean, you can have one. You can have one of each.
Have a Phil album. You could have a Genesis
absolutely.
Album.
Yeah, exactly.
Love Chicago, you could have a Pantera album, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. However,
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Hey, Tom and Tony, I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for being here. And so, yeah, I mean, we just thought, you know what, we talk a lot about other bands and albums that we love, so we figured, hey, why not just, have a little fun with this,
It has to be, Tom, if anybody doesn't know, Tom's a huge Kiss fan. He is a big time Kiss fan. I mean, he could do his own Kiss podcast. So we're so Beatles centric, right? And it's great. Right. But we have passions of music and other genres that we are almost equally as passionate about.
As passionate about it, right?
Well, no, actually, no, nothing really gets close to the Beatles. Let me rephrase that. Right. But True. It's close. Like Tom, I know could do a podcast tomorrow about Kiss. I know.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, James, how you doing? But you know what? The funny thing is that you and Ethan were out here last week, and we went to all these different record stores and whatnot. And the funny thing is that we didn't really buy a lot of Beatles or Beatles related stuff. We were getting other things as well. So
we ran the gamut. Ethan picked up some Beatles stuff because he needed it, but the only Beatle thing I picked up was the McCartney animated collection thing, I think.
Well, yeah, and then you did get the London Town.
Oh, the London Town Japanese. Right. But you didn't buy anything Beatles.
Well, I think the only Beatles-related thing I got was the Yoko Ono Hell in Paradise 45.
That was it. So
that was it.
You can look at our video from last week. You can see we ran the gamut with what we got.
Right. Yeah. So when I said 30 albums, I thought, okay, for me, to be honest with you, since I've been buying albums since the mid 80s, I have no problem saying what my 30 favorite records are. I know a lot of passionate people out there that love music out there, but I know from experience, I know the records that I've listened to over and over and over again. And Andy, I don't know how difficult this list was for you, but I mean, looking at my records, my collections, like I knew right off the spot what my favorite albums were.
Well, we talked about it in text. The first, I'd say the top 10 to 15 were a breeze to pick. The bottom 15 required a little more work.
Okay, fair.
For me, I mean, I did pull them all 30 of them in one day. I know you were like, oh crap, I need to do a little more time.
Yeah, because I was working, but the thing is, I mean, realistically, I probably could have done a top 50. Because there's just
that's a lot of
great albums out there.
Hey Hudson, how are you, buddy?
Hudson, Wes, how you guys doing?
My personal thing is going through this. I don't like as many artists as I thought I did because it's such a focused thing. So those last 10 or so were a little bit difficult for me, but probably not as much for you.
No, not at all. I mean, I just love so many different genres.
And you do. You love as we discussed, you really run the gamut, which is cool.
Yeah, so I really had no problem, picking one album per artist. I mean, there's just so many artists and bands that I've really enjoyed over the years, as you as well, so I'm sure. But
well, it's funny, you go through these records and these lists, right? And you figure out, okay, when I was 25, I was really into this record.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes you back to that time in your life, right?
Absolutely. Good point, too, because there's a lot of records from the 90s that I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of times that didn't make this list, for whatever reason. And then there's a lot of albums that I just discovered like 10 years ago that have made this list because of the impact that it's made on me,
Sure.
that it's had on me. So, a lot of different things, and and I'd still try to discover music that, I haven't yet discovered. And I'm sure you are the same way.
Always, as I always tell people, there's great music being made today, and there is, but I'm still discovering music that was made 40 and 50 years ago that I haven't even heard yet.
Exactly.
So
a lot of albums from
I don't want to
the
put
60s,
50s, 60s, 70s. I don't denounce anybody making modern music, and I think it's great. There's an outlet for it, but I'm still discovering music made 40 and 50 years ago that I haven't even heard yet, and I've been listening to music for 30 years of my life.
Yeah, and isn't that funny? Just still, in all different genres as well. So
all different genres. So this is a nice experiment. Tom and I kicked it around for a while. We were supposed to do it earlier in the month, but this will be a 3-part thing that we'll do kind of to replace that, the ranking the tracks, which we did weekly till we were done with it. Now we're going to do this for the next 3 weeks. So
right. Yeah. So we'll wait a second here, see if a couple more people join up, but yeah, it was great having you and Ethan out here. That was a great time. Really enjoyed myself taking you to all these other great, all these record stores and seeing, your guys' faces on these stores and, you guys finding stuff,
Yeah.
So
we still want to collect bingo, Tony. Bingo. No, but I would still buy, if I heard a song I liked by a modern band, I would get it. But it's just, again, Tom and I have said this. There's only so many hours in a day.
There's only so many, and it's the bands that I'm really starting to enjoy these days. They're farther and fewer between. You know what I mean? I'm just not really, for one reason or the other, whether I just don't like the music or just don't like the lyrics. But getting into newer acts it's getting further and farther between, unfortunately.
It is.
But that happens from time to time. Hopefully next decade there'll be, more music that I'll be getting into.
The most recent CD or album that I own by a modern group would be something by, I guess, the group Keane. The British band from the 2000s. They had a couple good big hits, which piano based, kind of like a Coldplay. And that's about as modern as I go for newer artists.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, there's some.
Tame Impala too. I like Tame Impala a little bit.
All right. Yeah, there's been some country acts that are kind of bringing back the some of the retro 70s style country that I really enjoy. So I've been listening to them. One's Brent Cobb and Margot Price and Sturgill Simpson, and really enjoying those guys. There's some heavier acts that I've been enjoying over the last couple years, but like the newer acts like Greta Van Fleet, I still haven't really given them much of a chance or a shot or whatever. I have, I did see them on Saturday Night Live, didn't really cared for what I saw, so the rock, I know there's a lot of new rock coming out. It's just that I'm not getting exposed to them as much as I did back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
The big PR with them, and I haven't heard a lick of anything they've done, is that they were compared to Led Zeppelin a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can tell as soon as you hear them, you can tell the influence right away.
Okay. Oh, here's James Boy, Steely Dan. I was never keen on them. Now you love them. Well, James, stay tuned.
Sometimes, Sometimes it takes a while.
It takes a while. And your maturity, your age, where you are, taste hits you differently. What you like at 50, you probably would have hated at 20, and vice versa.
Right. Exactly. Hi, Oliver. Glad you're here.
I'll give a little bit of a sneak. There is a Steely Dan record in my 30. So
okay. So today we're doing records 30 to 21.
Correct.
So what we didn't do is we didn't talk about who was going to go first. Don't care.
I'll flip a coin.
Okay, there you go. I'll take heads.
Okay, hold on. Heads it is. You go.
Okay, so I go first. Shit.
Oliver, only streaming, buddy, so far. Yeah. But I like what I've heard. The Beach Boys box set. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that just came out, didn't it?
Yes, it did, and it's fantastic.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's the album, right? And it's just
So
outtakes and whatnot.
It's two albums representing two albums of the Beach Boys: Sunflower, which is my favorite Beach Boys album, and Surf's Up, and outtakes and live stuff from that era.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
it's very good. So Heads. So you were up first there, Mr. Hunyadi. Go.
All right. Okay. My first album. Now, when 1990, I entered the restaurant world, which I have been now for 31 long years. And, I was 16 years old. I worked with a lot of older people. A lot of these that I looked up to, they were all into all forms of rock and roll, whether it was rock, hard rock, heavy metal, whatnot. And one band I was introduced to while I was, working with all these people, and then I became to know and love, is a band called Slayer. Now, they are a thrash metal band, and I've seen them live a couple times. And my favorite album of theirs, which is in my top 30, is an album called Season in the Abyss. Now, this came out in 1990, October of 1990. This was produced by the band and Rick Rubin, who, so this is one of the albums that he produced on his label called Deaf American, which I think it's called American Recordings now. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. If it's American Records or American Recordings, something like that. But the reason why this is one of my favorite all-time heavy metal thrash metal records. And and I know a lot of people out there, they're not heavy metal fans or whatnot, but there's just something about it that heavy metal that just it energizes me. I know there's a lot out there that some of you they're screaming, you can't really understand what they're saying, but this, I mean, you can the guitar riffs, the solos are just excellent.
You like it? Is it something that you still listen to a lot, or you do?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I listen to the album or songs from this album a lot, still. And I discovered this album, I think back in 91, a year after
Now
it
that's
came out.
new pressing, probably, right? Because now
this is a reissue.
As I now know, you only buy new
right. Exactly.
Repress original copy.
Right. But this band, they do a great job of just painting a picture. I mean, each song is tells a story, or that song. I mean, they do a great job. Just the lyrics are well written. A lot of people just think they're all swear words and whatnot, but no. I mean, not every metal song has swear words or about death or whatnot. But I mean, there's a little bit.
In other words, that's a stereotype. That
a little bit, yeah. I mean, yes, there are.
I will straight up admit I kind of think it is, because I have I'm not really into metal, and I would give it, but I would listen if you're saying that it's worth it. So I would give it another listen. I don't think anybody's too dismissive of any genre of music.
Right. No, exactly. Just like the side A for me is one of the best sides in thrash metal, history. I mean, a great opening track called War Assemble. You got Blood Red, Spirit in Black, Expendable Youth, and a song called Dead Skin Mask. So which would if you take the lyrics to it, you would make a really good horror film.
Yeah.
So a lot of the images that you hear from the lyrics, just paint a picture of, I mean, kind of horrific, at times, stuff, but it's just then the music too, if you add it, and it all blends well together, and it speaks to me. I mean, again, there's times where I'll play this where, I mean, it just takes the place of like an energy drink. You know what I mean? It just, gets you going through the day on your way to work. You might be starting early in the morning. You pop this in, and next thing you're at work and you're all energized, ready to
music.
go.
It's the beauty of music. It has that effect.
Exactly. So this is my 30 album, Season in the Abyss by Slayer.
By Slayer.
Okay. Yeah, Slayer.
I'm going to just make these notes here as we go through these.
Yeah, this is their fifth album. Like I said, 1990. Some people would have picked their two previous albums, South of Heaven and Rain and Blood. But for me, A Season in the Abyss is killer. I got to see them do this whole album live, which was really cool because they reunited with their original drummer, Dave Lombardo. He came back for a couple more years because he left after this album in 1990 to do other projects. And he's just by far one of the greatest heavy metal drummers of all time, Dave Lombardo. And this album kicks ass. And you will get a couple more, heavy metals down the line. But That's one of my favorites. So Seasons in the Abyss.
Did I just like a pen over my face? I did. That's great.
Yes,
That's
you
great. Did. I'm such a jackass. I picked the pen up to do a list and I got pen on my face. That's great.
Yeah, you still got some there.
I know. Hold on. That's great. Live. I got pen on my freaking forehead. What?
Hey, knock, knock.
What a jackass. Is it off?
Let me see.
Don't.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, for the most part.
Pen, dope.
Yeah.
Grab a pen that doesn't. I'm trying to keep track of your stuff, and I get pen on my forehead. Great.
Yeah, you can't count the Wilburys, Tony, because there is a Beatles
Yeah, Wilburys doesn't count.
Yeah.
All right.
Plastic Ono Band don't count. You know.
Gone?
Yeah.
All right. Jesus. Mary.
Right.
Okay. All right. My 30th. Okay.
Okay.
Right off. I'm gonna go with by the band Toto, the fourth album.
Yeah. Okay.
Toto IV, which was their biggest album.
Yes.
1982, featuring the big hits Rosanna and Africa. Staple of my childhood. Remember hearing it a lot. This is an original pressing, Tom. It's not up to Hunyadi standards, I must say.
Oh, jeez. 99's on there as well, right?
No, 99's not on this.
That was the previous album, I think.
Correct. 3. But it's got other good. I mean, this is great production. Toto was just a good band. I mean, they made their chops as session musicians for Michael Jackson, and this album really put them over the top.
Right.
Toto IV, Africa, Rosanna, but even other songs on here. Make Believe, I Won't Hold You Back, Good for You, which is a great song as well.
That's what. Yeah, I Won't Hold You Back. I like that one a lot too.
Great, I Won't Hold You Back. Great song. Great band. David Paich is a wonderful keyboard player. Still with the band. Steve Lukather, Bobby Kimball, David Hungate, Steve Lukather, obviously tied to Ringo. He's with the All-Stars now too. So there is a little bit of a Beatle connection here.
But it's not an actual Beatle, though.
No, but there is a connection, but it's not a Beatle. Right. But the fourth Toto album, I mean, I Got in Africa has kind of gone through a renaissance over the last decade. I mean,
Weezer,
everybody knows Africa now. In fact, I mean, Rosanna, I remember being the bigger hit at the time, but Africa has just kind of taken off into the stratosphere now. And just a good band, very talented, probably much more made for the studio than live. You know, they do tour, but they much more were a polished band in the studio. For sure. I mean, and all their records are great. 99, Hydra, those are good albums. The early hit they had was Hold the Line.
Hold the Line, yeah.
Good band. But the fourth album by Toto, this was the one that kind of just put,
that was huge for them.
This was the big one. So this was more, childhood memories, but that's my 30th. So.
Oh, great. Okay.
Next up,
29. Here we have our first would you say R&B soul record, and a lot of people know this artist from South Park, and that's Isaac Hayes, and this is his this is his second album called Hot Buttered Soul. Okay,
what year?
This is 69, June of 69. This album came out, like I said, his second album. Now, there's two really famous covers that he does on this album. Is Walk On By, which was made famous by Dionne Warwick, I believe, and then you got the song By the Time I Get to Phoenix, which was another, again, I think George Campbell made a hit out of that one.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, it's beautiful, it's soulful, and Isaac Hayes' vocals on here are excellent. Now the thing is there's only 4 songs on this record. Okay.
Really?
Because Walk On By is 12 minutes long. By the Time I Get to Phoenix is over 18 minutes long. But there's one song on here that I absolutely adore. It's one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's called One Woman. And it's just about, a guy who has 2 families, 2 lives, a wife, and then, that's making his home, and then, the mistress that's making him do wrong, in a way. So, and that's what part of the line, and one of the lines in the lyrics is, one woman, making my home while the other woman's making me do wrong, so it's just, very, very, very adult, lyrics in a way.
Person made in there a little bit.
What's that?
Little Mistress and Maid.
Little Mistress and Maid. There you go. Yeah, right. But the a lot of things a lot of people don't know is, I mean, Isaac Hayes is just an amazing arranger. He knows music. I mean, he's just a lot of it is soulful, some of it is funky. So there's all types of styles of R&B going on this record, and very glad I discovered this record. Probably I would say like 10 years ago.
I was gonna say,
I discovered this record, and I've been playing it nonstop ever since. And it's just one of those things where you just once you just feel it. The song comes on and it just goes through your body. And absolutely adore this record. This is number 29, Hot Butter Soul by Isaac Hayes. I should say this reached number 8 on the Billboard charts.
So it charted well too initially.
Yeah, so it did well. Yeah,
very good, Thomas. All right, not surprised. I saw that record collection. It was very diverse, so I'm not surprised that made an appearance. Now, my 29, boy, I really hope the Queen isn't watching, because if she is, and she sees this record at 29, she is royally. Right. But it's in there, okay? Right. It's in there, okay? And my 29 is Thriller.
Oh, wow. Okay.
By Michael Jackson. It's in there. Kit, God, I'm really sorry. Now this is going to count, even though there's a Beatle on it, because he's only on one track.
Come on. No. I mean, he's not on the. I mean, it's not a McCartney titled record, so I mean, it's fine.
It should count, even though we got The Girl's Mind on it, which, for the record, I do love as a song. Tom, I know you hate it.
I don't hate it.
Thriller, but now tying it back actually to Toto, a lot of the members of Toto
are on that record.
On this record. So
yes.
I kind of thought about that when I was sequencing. I said, I'll make that 30, this 29. So a lot of the members of Toto were the backing band on this. But I mean, come on. Now, I'll be curious if it's in Tom's collection. I would think it probably will be, but we'll have to wait and see. No, huh?
No, no. I mean, I enjoyed that record when I was, growing up in the 80s, but I've never actually owned that record.
Wow. No. So, I mean, this is just, Want to Be Starting Something, Girls, My Thriller, Beat It, Billie Jean, PYT. I mean, produced by Quincy Jones, great videos. I mean, one of the best.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, I'm just discovering, too, that Lukather has done a lot of sessions work on a lot of other people's records,
Lots.
And, especially during that time, during the early 80s, forget about it. He was on everybody's record.
So, Kit, I'm sorry. I know you probably would have had this like in your top 5, but listen, it's in my 30, okay? It's number 29. Probably still the best-selling album of all time. I don't know if that's been eclipsed, but Jim Allen, Thriller wouldn't be in my top 100.
How you doing, Day Tripper?
Tim. Agree, though, Day. Every song on here is a winner.
Matthew Gords, good to see you guys.
Eddie Van Halen on Beat It, very good. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's my 29. 28.
28. All right. Now, this is their debut album. And again, this was an album that I've listened to quite often since the late 80s. Growing up listening to classic rock radio, you heard the 2 songs on this album. You just heard nonstop, especially in the in the mid to late 80s. And this album is the debut album by Heart, and it's called Dreamboat Annie.
Now, what were the 2 big hits on that album?
Now, this was it was Crazy on You and Magic Man.
Magic Man.
Those were the 2 hits, but the other stuff too are the reason why I really love this album are the other tracks. The Dreamboat Annie, the title track. There's 3 different versions on this album, so that this album was kind of built around those about the title track, Dreamboat Annie. And like I said, there's 3 different versions of that song on this album. All 3 of them I think are excellent. There's a couple other songs on here like Love Me Like Music, I'll Be Your Song, Crazy on You, as we know, Soul to Sea.
75, Tom?
Yeah, this is White Lightning and Wine. Now this is September of 75. Okay, again, this is their debut record. It went to 7 on the Billboard charts, and if there's any reason to hear it, it's just for Ann Wilson's vocals.
Oh,
Because
tremendous.
she's an amazing vocalist, as we known throughout the decades of listening to her sing. But she sings those songs, especially the Dreamboat Annie songs. I mean, her vocals are absolutely flawless. Just love them.
She's one of the best voices
Yeah.
in rock bars.
Yeah, and then Nancy, her sister is a great guitarist, and
How about
just
their
an
cover?
amazing
How about their cover of "Stairway" at the Kennedy Awards?
Oh, right?
Incredible.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was amazing. Produced by Mike Flicker. Just amazing. This set the tone for them. Like I said, September of '75, Dreamboat Annie by Heart is my number 28.
All right. Very nice pick, brother. And again, nothing but the best in quality from Hunyadi. Repress Hunyadi.
That's right. There you go.
28 for me. Not the debut album, but close for this artist. And I think he'll have an album in his 30 as well, because I know Tom is a big fan of this guy as well.
Right.
And that would be Every Picture Tells a Story by Rod Stewart. Love this album. Of course, this has chock full of hits on it. Okay. The Big One, Maggie May, Reason to Believe in, my personal favorite, Mandolin Wind. Right. I mean, this is that perfect singer-songwriter era of rock music when Elton was doing stuff like this. Rod Stewart was pre-glam. David Bowie was still doing singer-songwriter stuff, and this era of rock and Rod Stewart, one of the best. Of course, the title track, Every Picture Tells a Story, phenomenal. You have this, don't you, Tom?
No, I mean on CD I do. On CD.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I saw it in that collection, but Mandolin Wind is one of the best songs.
Oh, Mandolin's great. Is Reason to Believe on that one?
Reason to Believe is on this as well. Yep.
Yeah. See, he redid that one for the box set he did in '89, I think it was.
The Storytellers box set.
Yeah. Storytellers. Yes.
Thank you, Day Tripper. Yeah, but love Rod. And I love all eras of Rod, even the kind of glammy era.
Hey, look, Rod was huge in the '80s too, man. He had a lot of hits in the '80s.
Yeah, some guys have all the luck and all that.
Infatuation,
Forever Young. Those
people get ready. Yeah,
people get ready. So, but this, Rod's got a lot of great albums, but I'm going to go with the gold standard for me for 28. Right. Just a great overall record, and I think I paid $2 for it. See, it's still
can't go Rod. You can't go wrong with some Rod the Mod. That's for sure.
Not indeedy. So 27 from Tom.
X6. Okay, 27. Now we're going to go into the country world.
Oh boy.
And I'm a huge fan of 70s country music. And my 27 is by an artist named Waylon Jennings, and it's called Dreaming My Dreams. This was released in '75 as well, so we had a couple albums here from 1975. Now, this is considered the outlaw movement back in the mid '70s, and what that is that a couple artists, including Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, they kind of they wanted to get away from that Nashville scene, the corporate style of country music, what Nashville wanted it to be,
but it wasn't.
But they wanted to take control of their own careers. Okay, so Waylon and Willie, they were able to break away from the norm of Nashville, and they were able to have control of their own careers. And then starting with the album before this one, but this is my favorite. This is Dreaming My Dreams. Now, Waylon is I think is a pretty good vocalist when it comes to country, but it's the songs that I really love the most on this one. And songs like Are You Sure Hank done it this way, as in Hank Williams. He's a big Hank Williams guy. He'll cover Hank during his live shows. Again, the side A for me is like one of those perfect sides where every song is just a knockout. You know what I mean? And then there's a little song on side B called The Door Is Always Open, which is, kind of like a song where his ex-girlfriend got married, but, she's still invited over whenever she wants. She's tired of that married life. So the door is always open, the light's always on is what, kind of like in the chorus of the album. So kind of like a bad boy type thing. He was a bad boy in the 70s along with Willie Nelson. They wanted to get away from the norm of Nashville and take control of their career, which they were able to do and be very successful at it. You know what I mean? So Dreaming My Dreams, Waylon Jennings. This, by the way, was his 22nd album by 1975.
See?
Yeah, this made it to number 49 on the Billboard charts and then number one on the country charts.
Very cool. Number one in the country. And what was it on Billboard?
49.
49. Okay. Very nice pick. 27 for Tom, 27 for me. We're going to take our first stroll down the progressive rock genre, baby.
I was wondering when that was coming up.
It's coming. It's coming. And here we go with 1971's Aqualung.
Right. Aqualung. Very good.
Jethro Tull, baby. Ian Anderson. Hard one to pick. I'm a big Tull fan. Was mulling it between Thick as a Brick or Aqualung or Living in the Past or Songs from the Wood. But for me, Aqualung is the classic. Hymn 43, Locomotive Breath, Cross-Eyed Mary, the title track. Right. Not to mention just the awesome artwork on it. I mean, Aqualung, Ian Anderson on the flute. I mean, you know, I've never got a chance to see them live, unfortunately.
Oh, great stuff. Good
Have
stuff.
you?
Yeah, we saw them live for their 50th anniversary a couple years ago.
Oh,
and it was a really good show.
Yeah, but Aqualung, man, I mean, this is just, this is like, 1971. I mean, they were kind of, again, early big prog, even before Genesis and Yes made it really big. They were really big. You know, I know Yes supported Jethro Tull before Yes even made it big. So, Ian Anderson still can pump out music.
Actually, they're working on a new album now.
That's it. Brennan Songson was his favorite. Tony DeMay has Aqualung in his top 20. Yeah, I mean, certainly, yeah. Great. I mean, the gatefold there, great artwork on the gatefold.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a copy. This record was my dad's copy. How about that?
No kidding.
It was, and it's still in pretty good shape. So, Dad, thanks for taking good care of it, my man.
Yeah, I have a rarity. My wife is the biggest Jethro Tull fan I've ever met, and I just never met a female fan of Jethro Tull, and then just somehow I happened to marry the one. But my wife is an absolute huge fan of Jethro Tull, and she plays that that album quite often, and it's a good.
Thank you,
it's a
Mrs.
good album.
Hunyadi. Thank you.
Yes. So she would definitely approve.
Thank you
of that record.
You got to tell her that the one made an appearance on my list.
Yes, absolutely. I will.
20.
So extra track. Okay, we're up to 26 now. Okay, this album. Again, we're going back to the kind of like the R&B soul period. This is the debut album after he left the band The Impressions. This is Curtis by Curtis Mayfield, released in September of 1970. This was, like I said, this was his debut album after leaving it. This dealt with a lot of social injustices of the day. I mean, it was kind of like the What's Going On before What's Going On, because What's Going On came at the following year, 1971.
71.
You know, in a way. But this album, again, I mean, when you hear this album, it's really the musicianship and the arrangements that really drive this album. For me, I think it's great lyrically, but again, it's the music that really gets to me on this one. And I mean, every song. I mean, this is one of those rare albums that you love every song. You don't skip any song on the album. And the big song, or the biggest song on this is a song called "Move On Up," which was one of the singles on here. But every song on here for me is a winner. Now, this was you'll like this, but this was part of the progressive soul movement.
Yes.
Okay, where they
just Davis and all that.
Well, not really. Yeah, that little bit. Earth, Wind and Fire. Stevie Wonder, where they were just really, pushing the boundaries of what you could do with soul, and funk, and just all of that together. And and just making some great music, and this is really the debut album I really thought I was gonna have Superfly on here from Curtis, which would be his third album, because then he did the soundtrack to Roots after this album, and then he did Superfly. Do
you have all of his albums in your collection?
Not all of them. I have like this. I have Roots, and I have Superfly. So which I think all three are amazing, but this, I mean, the way he sings it, the passion in his voice when he sings, I just love, everything about this record. Curtis by Curtis Mayfield, the debut album, 1970. I definitely recommend, if you haven't checked it out, give it a go.
Beautiful time. The 20, that was 27 or 6?
That was 26.
All right, very cool. 26 for me. Going back to the classic rock. Okay, the one and only apparel. There's only one per group anyway. We have Beggars Banquet by the Rolling Stones.
Stones. Okay.
Stones.
Yes.
And now I'm not the biggest Stones fan, and I think everybody knows that. You're either a Beatles person or you're a Stones person, right?
Right.
Is the old saying. But I have a healthy amount. Now, I'm not like our friend Ethan, who's a big Stones fan. I have all the core albums, but Beggars Banquet, start to finish, is my favorite Stones album. A little bit, they're taking the Mickey on the Beatles here a little bit with the white album kind of concept, only after the first cover was rejected with the toilet seat.
Right.
And the record company just told them to just dress it up like this. But engineered by Glyn Johns, okay, who we all know well. Sympathy for the Devil, FM classic. Doctor, No Expectations, Street Fighting Man.
Love No Expectations.
Great song, and probably my
Parachute
favorite.
Woman's on there. One is right.
Parachute Woman's on here. Dear Doctor's great, but my favorite song on the whole album, probably the one that closes side 2, Salt of the Earth.
Salt of the Earth. Yeah, good song.
Salt of the Earth, which is a great track, and just really Nicky Hopkins also on this record too, who was just doing great work for everybody at that time. But I mean, from start to finish, I love Beggars Banquet. It's one that it's the only probably Stones album I can play from start to finish. Truth be told.
I love the record as well. I had it. I got rid of it. I in a way I want to get it again, but it's an APCO. I want to piss all over whatever APCO does. I hate Klein with a passion. But great record. Great record.
Yeah.
Maybe that between that and Exile on Main Street is between are probably my two favorites. Or Let It Bleed is actually my favorite.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, Jigsaw Puzzle. Yeah, just great pick. I remember, actually, that's how I discovered Salt of the Earth, because Mick and Keith did Salt of the Earth live at the Concert for New York City in 2001, which is at the time was a song I didn't know.
Oh, really?
I had to go back to that, and I found out it was on this. So that's how I heard it live and then heard it on this after the fact. So
that's funny, because I discovered the song a few years prior from the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus. They closed the show with Salt of the Earth.
Well, there you go, Tom Brennan. That's the Stones album being promoted on the Rock and Roll Circus show with Lennon. Thank you, Tom. Yeah. So that's my 26 Stones, Beggars Banquet.
Yeah, good record. Very good record. All right, 25. So we're going back to the metal scene again. Huge fan. I mean, heavy metal was a big part of my 90s. All forms, whether you want to call it, hair band, grunge,
it was big.
Metal. It was. And then one of the biggest was a band called Pantera.
I remember
that. And in '94 they released their seventh record called
God,
Far Beyond Driven.
Every kid under the creation was wearing Pantera shirts.
Yeah. So this record's called Far Beyond Driven. This is not the original cover. Okay, this is a skull right here. The original cover, this was they were drilling through a guy's anus.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, Far Beyond Driven by Pantera, who was one of my favorite bands at the time. They're no longer together. Two of their members, the two brothers, they've since passed. The guitar player Dimebag Darrell, when he died, the band was pretty much over. In the early 2000s, I think it was late 90s. I can't remember.
Was that when they dried up?
Yeah, they pretty much. But it's just like every album after the other was louder, faster, heavier, and these guys would always put Metallica down because every album was kind of getting, more poppy, so these guys stay true to themselves, and they didn't shrivel up to being commercial or whatnot. They stay true to themselves, and to the fans appreciated that throughout the years. I did get to see these guys live, and I think it was during an Ozfest, and it was the most brutal mosh pit I'd ever been in my life.
Dang.
But Again, songs like Strength Beyond Strength, 5 Minutes Alone, I'm Broken, Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills. They do a pretty cool cover of the Black Sabbath song called Planet Caravan. And Slaughtered. So there's just a lot of, again, just fist pounding, attitude driven, songs on here that get you pumped up and motivated. And this was, again, one of my favorite heavy metal albums, Pantera's Far Beyond Driven from March of 1974. And guess what? This was a
94.
94. This was a #1 record on Billboard's Top 200.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
But you bought these all on CD though back then, though, right?
Oh, I had them. Yeah, I had it on CD. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, yeah, more than vinyl collecting then.
Yeah.
So Pantera for 25 for Tom.
Yes.
25 for me. We're gonna go with Mr. David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy, wow.
Ziggy at 25. David Bowie and the Spider from Mars. Man, just probably my favorite record by David Bowie. Tough to pick. I was hemming and hawing between Hunky Dory or this one. I just so many pick, or Station to Station. But I had to go concept rock, glam rock, Bowie. 5 years, Starman, Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, Rock and Roll Suicide. Mick Ronson, on here as well. Also produced by Ken Scott, another Beatles.
Scott. There you go.
Well, and this is just Bowie at his best, and for me, and really hard to pick which one I was going to go with for Bowie. Right. But Starman was one of the first songs I ever heard outside of it. And even on its own, it's a good song. Right? You hear it in commercials now. And then 5 years, what an opening, right? 5 years as an opener.
Oh, great opening album opener.
Again, we were in the record stores out there in Phoenix. I think we were in 3 or 4 stores, and they were all playing Bowie music. They were all playing Bowie music.
Right.
But everything. But I hope it's a perfect album from start to finish.
Yeah, it's funny because I do have a Bowie album in my top 30. Okay, and while I knew which one it was, I knew it wasn't going to be Ziggy Stardust. I had like 4 or 5 albums that I was choosing before I even thought of Ziggy Stardust. Even though I love that record, there's a few other ones that I love a little bit more.
Yeah,
but that's classic. I mean, like you said, from top to bottom, that is arguably one of the
Suffragette City.
You can't go wrong with that. You can't
at all.
go wrong with Ziggy.
Songs, you hear them all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe by 72, the concept album thing might have been a little bit passe, but Bowie was, suave enough to get away with it, for sure.
Here we go. Matthew with Arthur, Better Than Ever.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I was wondering when that was coming.
It's a better album than Abbey Road. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Shots fired. Wow.
Yeah, see, I like Honky Dory too. I love, Scary Monsters. I love, so many Bowie records out there that are great. But obviously that's the one that he's remembered for. That's the one that put him on the map, really.
Yeah, people might look at my selections and go, they're very safe choices, but I'm a very safe person. I don't want to call it predictable, but it's, I'm picking the ones that I like the best. Okay.
And that's, that's what I appreciate, I appreciate that. I'm doing the same thing.
You're doing the same thing. 24 for you, brother.
Yeah, 24. Now, we've talked about before, I've talked about before how, I went all in on the grunge scene. Wow. I was all about it. I was graduating high school when it got big, and and I stuck with it. And one of my favorites, I got 2 grunge records on my top 30. One of my second favorite grunge record from that whole time is Pearl Jam's Vitalogy.
Oh, I remember. That's a big one.
Yeah. So this is their 3rd record, another record from 1994. So
94
was a great year for music for me, actually.
Did Pearl Jam's 10 come out that same year too, or no?
No, that was 91.
Okay.
That was 91. So, so some people probably could have picked, their second album, Versus. Some people would pick their debut album, 10. But for me, Vitalogy is really highlighting what their power, what their their strengths. I think Eddie Vedder's vocals are the best on this album. Songs like "Split in the Back Circle," which again about it's like vinyl, "Not for You," "Nothing Man," "Whipping," "Corduroy," "Bugs," "Satan's Bed." So many different kinds of rock and roll on here. Nice "Nothing Man." Nice softer vocals from Eddie Vedder here, but
that record was
Better Man.
That record was everywhere back then.
This was, and it number one on the Billboard charts, and this was Pearl Jam was huge. I mean, they're still big. They're still big.
That was, that period.
This period.
That was the golden era for them.
Oh, exactly. 93, 94 for Pearl Jam was huge because that was their second album, Versus, and then this one, Vitalogy. And people were kind of surprised that they released another album so quickly after the success of Versus in 93. But this one, I think, just kind of musically and lyrically, it just kind of raised the bar just a little bit more for Pearl Jam, and I don't think they've been the same ever since this record. They kind of lost a little bit of their balls, I think, after this record. But I love Vitalogy from Pearl Jam, November '94 on the Epic label, and again, number one record.
Yeah, I could just remember because Pantera, Pearl Jam. It was the '90s. Everybody was listening.
Metallica. I mean, everybody.
All my contemporaries, they were into that stuff. They were wearing the shirts.
Right.
And here I am going, who just got live at the BBC? That'd be
Crickets.
I was the only geek that was like, live at the BBC just came out, and everybody was like, we're listening to Pearl Jam and Pantera. What are you doing? But a very good pick, and I'm not surprised it made your list for sure. At 25 or 4?
We are now at 23. Oh no, 24. You're
24 for me. 24 for me. Okay. Yeah. This would be the last album recorded by this awesome duo of singer-songwriters, and that would be "Bridge Over Troubled Water."
Oh yes.
The last album by Simon and Garfunkel, issued in 1970. Their swan song, their "Let It Be." They did 5 albums, I think, together. 6,
something like that.
It was the last album, and man, did they go out on top or what with this record?
Oh, it was massive. That album was huge.
This album, I mean, the title track. Even people say, kind of bring it back to the Beatles. This was Paul just trying to do "Bridge Over Troubled Water" with "Let It Be." It was such a big hit in the orchestration on it that they thought Paul was trying to just recreate it a little bit. But I mean, everything about every song on here: "Bridge Over Troubled Water," "El Condor Pasa," "Cecilia," "Keep the Customer Satisfied," "So Long Frank Wright," "The Boxer," "Baby Driver." Probably my favorite song on the album, "The Only Living Boy in New York."
It is my favorite. That is my favorite Simon and Garfunkel song right there. "The Only Living Boy in New York."
Bar none, right?
Yeah, bar none. Yes.
Featured in a lot of good movies. I heard that was in that movie. I forget it was in that movie, and they rarely release songs. Garden State. It was in the film Garden State, and they let their song be in that. And man, that worked so well in that movie.
Right.
A cover of the Everly Brothers, "Bye Bye Love."
Yeah.
Also on here, and "Song for the Asking." Tremendous production. You've got Hal Blaine. You've got the Wrecking Crew people represented on here a little bit. Larry Knechtel, again, who was on there for keyboard. A lot of the guys using the Wrecking Crew on this record. But man, what a way to go out on top for your career with this record. And I know Tom's a big Simon and Garfunkel fan as well.
Yeah, I love it. Unfortunately, they didn't make my top 30. That's why I really wanted to do a top 50. But I love that record. I love some of the records before that too. Bookends and Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. I think are great records as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the big production on "Bridge Over Troubled Water," I mean, forget it, And
then
the same with "The Boxer" as well, by the line, boom,
boom, the production on there is great, but it's like, you can listen to "Bridge Over Troubled Water" and it doesn't bring a tear to your eye. You're not. Right. I'm sorry. Anytime you hear it, it just gives me goosebumps when I hear that song. And this is 2024.
Yeah, no. It's a phenomenal record. It deserves its place in anybody's 100 greatest records of all time.
Oh, so they didn't make your 30, huh?
They didn't make my 30. I mean, I really wanted to add a Simon and Garfunkel record in there, but they just got edged out, unfortunately. 10 years from now when if we do this over again, maybe, they'll find their way in the top 30, but yeah, phenomenal record. If you get the 2-disc set, it has a DVD with the,
Yes.
interviews with Simon, everybody and a lot of people involved, which is an incredible documentary on the album,
Yes, it is. Yeah, Hal Blaine was the drummer. All those big drums you hear, that's all Hal
Yeah.
Blaine, tremendous drummer.
Yeah. And then I wanted to go back to Farrell, what he was saying. Yeah, I'm a big Sonic Youth fan. One of their records almost made my top 30. But yeah, No Coda was the album after Vitalogy. So yes. But it
No
just had
Code. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, No Code. Sorry, that was the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
No Code. Okay, where are we at? 23.
23. Thank you, Farrell.
That's great, Farrell.
23 for you, Thomas.
23 for me. Some people would have picked their 2 albums before this. Probably. Think of what the Benz and OK Computer.
Oh, Radiohead.
Yeah. I was introduced to this song from Creep. I love their song Creep. I just big fan of that. I got the OK Computer and the Benz. I thought they were fine, but it was Kid A that turned me on to Radiohead. I love this record a lot. This was from October 2000, another #1 record. Every song I think on here is a winner. Kind of electronica style. I love that just about every song Tom is doing something different with his vocals.
Tom York.
Tom York. Yeah. So, everything in its right place, Kid A, National Anthem, Optimistic, just about every song on this is a winner, but especially the first side, I think is a great opening to an album. About as good as it gets, but this album, I listened to it nonstop when it first came out in 2000. I thought it was the best album of the year in 2000 myself. And yeah, I think it's rated pretty high in the radio, with the Radio A.
Kid A, I've always read that's very highly rated up there. Okay, Computer, Kid A, they're all up there.
Yeah, well, a lot of the purists, the original fans, they'll go with the Benz or OK Computer, but for me, it's Kid A. I really like the experimentation they were doing. They really changed gears. They kind of shifted away from the more of the guitar driven stuff that they did with the previous albums, but this is a whole different direction. Like I said, a little bit more electronica in here, which I didn't really give much of a chance to until I listened to this record, and I really like what they did with this one. So October 2000, Kid A from Radiohead is my 23.
Nice choice, brother. Radiohead, very well represented here with the alternative kind of heavy metal in your bottom 30.
Yeah,
kind of tells me where you're going to go with your top 15. I see what you're doing there. I see what you got to do your madness now.
Right.
You're getting all that out of the way now because you're going to go with the heavy hitters for the top 15.
Oh, the heavy hitters will definitely be represented in part 2 and 3. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. 23 for me.
Right.
Huge band. Probably not the first album some would go to for this band, but for me, from start to finish, it's my favorite record by this band, and that would be A Kind of Magic by Queen.
Oh, that is your favorite Queen record?
This is my favorite Queen record from
start
to finish. I absolutely love this record. I'm a fan of 80s Queen versus 70s Queen. I think I love the 80s Queen much more than the 70s version of Queen.
No kidding.
Who Wants to Live Forever? Friends Will Be Friends, 1 Year of Love, A Kind of Magic. They were Pain Is Close to Fresh. They were internationally much more successful in the 1980s than they were in the 70s. They did very well in America in the 70s, but internationally in the 80s, they owned it. This might be very unpopular. They might be, Night at the Opera, News of the World, But this, again, I was of age when this was a big album, so that's maybe why you'll see some of these. Bold statement. Yeah, I like 80s Queen better. The Works, Radio Gaga, but this one, they had a huge tour for it. They toured Wembley Stadium. If you've seen the live video,
right?
That did that to support this album. So all the songs work great on it. Who Wants to Live Forever? Think
Oh,
about
great song. Yeah, no, there's some good stuff on there. Absolutely.
A Kind of Magic, I think is just awesome.
It's a kind of magic.
Yeah, I mean that's a song that just kind of just gets rocking and rolling, but not a One Vision. How can I forget about One Vision?
Yeah, yeah,
One
that's a
Vision
great
also
track
great
too.
from the movie Iron Eagle.
Yes.
That's on this record too. So
What year was that again?
86.
86.
But
Okay.
they threw that came out just on its own, and they just threw that on the album too.
Right.
But One Vision. I mean, Stephen Schnee likes it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stephen.
I felt that was kind of like a little bit of return to form for Queen on that one.
One Vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me fried chicken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but every song of this One Vision, 1 Year of Love, nice ballad. But I mean, again, it's one I always come back to, and it's all the Queen records. It's the one that I play the most. And I think it's really the last great Queen record too, because Freddie obviously got sick after this, but I think it's the last true great Queen record.
Okay, fair.
23, Kind of Magic, Queen.
Oh wow. Okay, 22. 22 is my favorite grunge record. At that time, their third and final album, Nirvana's In Utero.
91.
Yes. This was 93.
Okay, close.
Okay, yeah, 93. So again, their third record after quite a bit of a wait. After Nevermind. Well, really only 2 years, but this record for me is just like a step above. Kurt Cobain kind of described this as their Sergeant Pepper in a way. You know what I mean? So, but for me, again, it's all about the guitars. I love what Kurt did with his guitar playing on this record, and lyrically, I think it's a step above Nevermind as well. And so this album is just, again, this is a knockout of the park for me. It's the opening side A is perfect in my opinion. You got Serve the Servant, Scentless Apprentice, Heart Shaped Box, which was the big hit.
Farrell
on there.
Loves
yes. Right. You had the controversial Rape Me, which everybody thought was a rape song, but was really actually an anti-rape song.
I remember that controversy.
Yeah. Frances Farmer Will Have Her Revenge on Seattle is great. And then, the album ends with the great All Apologies, which, again, I think is a great closing song. I think Kurt Cobain was a very underrated guitar player. I think he was really kind of like almost
that was the last studio album he made.
Yeah, right? last studio. Yeah, the album. This album was played to death, Day Tripper. Unfortunately, but I wasn't really listening to radio a lot then. So I mean, I didn't get fatigued on the record because I played this when I wanted to hear it. But yeah, I did play it a lot. But it's just one of those records that motivated me. Lyrically, I thought if Kurt Cobain was given more time, if he didn't end up killing himself, I think he could have been on that level as Lennon as a lyricist. A powerful, moving lyricist.
Heading that way.
Yeah, he was. I think he was definitely heading that way. But great album of its time. Again, another number one record from the 90s, and I think it's a great record. In Utero by Nirvana, 1993.
93. God, you're taking me back to my middle school days with all these records. I'm just going back to my days of being bullied, but it's not really bullied, just picked on for not popular.
For being a Beatles fan,
Pretty much. Such was my lot in life, but I think I came out of it okay. I just like that somebody like
good.
You like all that. You like all that stuff, but love the Beatles stuff just as well. I wish I could have been like you with those tastes. Right. I just wasn't wired that way.
But then you say but that's funny you say that because it's just like as I was discovering all these different genres of music, I'm still always going back to the Beatles. They're still always remaining my favorite band.
Right. Even though you're also going and exploring these other genres, which is contemporary at the time.
Right.
Too, so,
yeah.
And Utero was 23 or 22?
22. So you're on your 22. Yeah.
22 right now. Going back to the 70s. We're going back to the 70s now. singer-songwriter.
Right.
Very, very much underrated, I think, since his passing. But this is his probably best-selling album, and that would be Harry Nilsson's Schmilsson
Ah, very good.
from
Yes.
1972, the one with
Right.
the hit on it, with Without You on it. This was the
Yes.
one, the artist, that launched him, really made him. He already was successful as a songwriter and had done some movie and TV stuff, obviously. But this is the album that really kind of made him a kind of a superstar.
A household name.
Household name, Without You, The Coconut, Jumping to the Fire is on here.
Yeah.
Down, I Gotta Get Up. I mean, every song. Probably my favorite song on this whole thing is the Moonbeam song. Lots of Beatle connections with Harry, as we know. Produced by Richard Perry. Ringo's on some of this stuff as well. Bobby Keys, all these familiar names that you've read. Klaus.
Whitlock's not on that one?
Herbie Flowers is on bass here. Let's see.
Whitlock's not on it, is he?
Whitlock, I'm just checking the notes right now. Bobby, I don't think is on this one, but another name that McCartney fans will know, Chris Spedding is on guitar on a lot of these tracks as well too. Right. Keltner, all the usual guys on here. But what just a great record. No, Harry could sing songs. I mean, he could sing the dictionary, so he had such a great voice. And
true.
Such a shame what happened to his voice later on with Pussycats and Lennon and those sessions, what he did to him.
Right.
But man, Gotta Get Up. I mean, of course, if you've seen Goodfellas, Jumping to the Fire, playing. Henry's driving, he's got to get back. The cops are chasing him, he's got to make the sauce.
Right.
Jumping to the Fire is playing. But of course, Without You, written by Badfinger, and of course Tom Brennan is a big Badfinger guy. He can speak to that too. But Harry Nilsson, he's somebody that I've discovered quite a lot over the last 5 years. You can get his whole RCA albums on.
You got that box set, right?
I do. It's right over there. You can get all of his RCA albums for like less than $50. And it's the whole RCA. It's basically his whole discography. And boy, it's just a great worth it to explore the Harry Nilsson stuff. And Schmilsson, and obviously I was either going to go with this one or the follow-up.
The son
of Schmilsson. But I had to go. I had to go with the gold standard with Nilsson, with Without You, and all the other great songs.
Yeah, good record. Good record.
All right. Vivian liked it too. Yeah. Again, I like dad music. I like dad music. It's just
right. All right. So 21 in the final pick for.
No, we got two more, right?
No, 21. No, because then we start off with 20 next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So you went with the 80s. I went with the 70s.
Yeah.
And my favorite Queen record. And I'm telling you right now, this should have been in my top 10. If you were before that damn movie Wayne's World came out, this album would have been in my top 10. But because of what the how big that song became after Wayne's World, it's kind of just brought this album down for me a little bit, but I still love it. And luckily, Bohemian Rhapsody is the second to the last song, so I can just end when I'm playing the vinyl, I can just end it right there. So my 21 is A Night at the Opera.
Ooh,
I think
that's a good choice, brother. If I was on the Queen album, I would have done that one, but I won't. Right. That's a great choice.
Right. And A Night at the Opera, I think from top to bottom is the band, becoming, I think they really become a band here with this record. All of them are, have their great moments.
Dude, how good is 39?
Exactly.
39, one of the best songs ever written.
Right, and I think that was what Brian May wrote. That one.
Song.
You got Deacon with Love in My Car. Death on Two Legs might be one of the greatest album openers of all time.
Yeah. Now, and again, no surprise out there, people in YouTube land. I love Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon. Why? Because it's very McCartney-esque. I love that song.
Yes, and what a great second. What a great song to follow up Death on Two Legs.
Right. Death on Two Legs.
Right. Yes. I Love With My Car. You're My Best Friend, obviously, is great. Sweet Lady. Love that one. However,
Seaside Rendezvous.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Seaside Rendezvous. Sweet Lady is great. the one track, "Love of My Life," one
Oh,
of the best ballads I think of all time. Freddie just sings the hell out of that song.
yep.
Love that, love in my life. And the song before it, the Prophecy song, which I tend to like now better than Bohemian Rhapsody. Um, I don't have anything against Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just that Wayne's World just made it
Wayne's
over.
World killed it for you.
It killed it for me. And it felt like that wasn't my
Oh, here
song
you go.
anymore. It felt like it was everybody.
Answer here. Why does
Yeah,
Tom?
it just felt like it's everybody's song now, because I mean everybody and their mother went to go see Wayne's World. They play the song now. Everybody loves Bohemian Rhapsody. When before it wasn't really that played on the I mean, it was played on the radio. Don't get me wrong, but then even pop stations started playing Bohemian Rhapsody, not just the classic rock stations. So like now
Yeah.
every station is
As
playing
we talk
Bohemian
about it
Rhapsody.
when we do our McCartney shows, it's over.
Right.
Oversaturation.
Right.
And that's all it really is.
I don't hate it. I understand its importance. It's a phenomenal song. It's just that after Wayne's World, it just.
Now, you know what I always do? If I want to hear Bohemian Rhapsody, I'll go watch the tribute version with Elton John and Axl Rose from the tribute concert, because that version kicks ass.
Exactly. So this is a phenomenal record. The playing on it is phenomenal. Freddie's vocals, I think, were some of his strongest vocals on this record, because he's just ripping through so many styles and genres of music on this record. I mean, in a way, it's kind of almost like White Album-ish in a way, because you just got so many different kinds of music going on.
Overrated band. Okay. Well,
Wow. I can, that's.
Well, I can
fine.
understand that. In the last couple of years, the Queen sensation has just gone through the roof with the film, which is great, because I mean they're a band that's not really. I mean, they're still active and they tour, but I think it's cool that people like Queen again. I wish we.
Yeah,
could
no, it is cool. Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%.
I remember Wayne's World. Everybody loved Wayne's World. Everybody was going crazy when that thing came out.
Right.
And you were really cool. If you knew Bohemian Rhapsody before that movie came out, you were even cooler.
Oh, you were even cooler if you knew that song before. Absolutely. And that's why I felt like it was kind of taken away from me a little bit.
Because it's like now it's not yours anymore.
Because, I mean, before it was kind of like almost like a hidden gem. I mean, yes, in the 70s it was huge. I mean, it was a single. It did well. But then come, the mid-'80s, early 90s, it became like almost like a, had a cult following, rather than a big overblown, oh my God, this is, one of the greatest songs of all time songs, so it's.
So, no, I love that choice, Tom. So that was your 21?
That was my 21, yeah.
All right, my
21, A Night at the Opera, November 1975. Right.
This is not cheating because...
Hold on, one second. And it was only, that album was only number 4.
Did not go to number 1.
Did not go to number 1 in the U.S. It did in the UK, though.
It did go in the UK.
Right. Yeah.
But I bet you since that album's come out, I'm sure it's gone,
probably.
Platinum and everything else.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But go ahead. You're 21.
My last one for the evening, to 21, is probably the most acclaimed solo album by this artist, who I kind of already talked about already because he was part of a duo. But this is just his own album, and that would be Paul Simon's Graceland.
Oh, Graceland, okay.
Which is actually an original sealed copy from 1986, actually, not even opened.
Wow.
Yeah, this, again, more nostalgia for me. I remember the videos, Graceland. I remember I got this album, I think, shortly after my brother was born as a gift or something. And it was, to me, every song on this album, it just is so amazingly written and produced and sang and heartfelt and real.
Right.
Boy in the Bubble, Graceland, I Know What I Know, Gumboots, Diamonds on the Silver. Of course, the big hit, You Can Call Me Out.
Love the video. Love the video.
Yeah. Boy in the Bubble's great. But probably my favorite song on the whole thing is Under African Skies.
Okay.
Which he does with Linda Ronstadt. And live he did, which was done with Lady Smith Mambazo. Crazy Love. I'm not sure if you're the biggest solo Paul Simon fan, Tom.
I mean, I like the hits.
Yeah. But to me, Graceland is a watershed album of my listening experience. Even before I knew most of the Beatles stuff, I knew this album.
Right. I mean, that was one of the big albums of the 80s. I mean, that was a huge album.
It was a huge album. But You Can Call Me Out is hysterical. Graceland, The Boy in the Bubble, awesome on here as well. Homeless. I mean, everything about this record I've always loved. And I think it got a 25th anniversary edition a few years ago.
Right.
Yeah, but it came out in May of '86. Los Lobos backs him up on here a little bit. Andy, do you have the special edition CD with a different version of Homeless? Yes, I do. I do, Farrell. Nice acoustic guitar on it. There is. But yeah, I wanted to kind of get these biggie ones out of the way. People say, what's that? She's crazy. Diamond and Souls of Her Shoes. Yeah, for sure. Going back to Queen, there's a spoof song on Coronavirus Rhapsody on YouTube. Okay. But yeah, this is my 21, and that's our first installment, brother.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Tim. Yeah, peaked. Bohemian Rhapsody peaked at number 9 when it first came out in '96, and then it went to number 2 in '92. Thanks for from the help of
the Wayne's World stuff.
Wayne's World. And then there was all that kind of But anyways,
it cheapened it.
Kinda. Yeah, One Trick Pony is a good Paul Simon record as well. But like I said, I mean, when it comes to Paul Simon, I love Paul Simon and Garfunkel albums. But when it comes to just Paul Simon, I like the hits.
The hits, right? And Garfunkel too. There's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got a couple Garfunkel albums thanks to your recommendation.
Yeah,
always been a big fan of his vocals. Probably, maybe I know he's appreciated with like us. This group. Garfunkel, but I think he needs a little bit more respect in the vocal range.
He does.
In my
listen to his album.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Go listen to his album Angel Clare from 1973, and it's an edition of Barbara Allen.
Right.
It is probably it's like a religious experience listening to him sing that song.
Right. Thank you, Day Tripper, for that. So next week, hopefully, we'll be live again, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
Wednesday, one of those days for sure.
Right. And we can post on on our Two Legs Facebook page when we'll be live again. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it'll be Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll just continue this series for 2 more weeks. And tune in. But glad that I caught most of it. Thank you for being here, Bill. I really appreciate it. I wish 12. Thank you.
Okay, again, everybody.
Hey, you can win every round. That's fine with me. I mean, that's.
Hey.
I mean, I.
Well,
listen,
I
know
it's personal choice. So.
No, exactly. No, and you know what? Like you said, I mean, you did pick some excellent records. Excellent.
Yeah, and I picked stuff that might have been more along the lines of somebody who's a Beatles fan. You with your taste, and you like metal and grunge, and you like all that stuff, and. There might be a lot of Beatles fans that don't. So
absolutely, and I know that from past experiences.
Right. So, but I see there's a method to what you're doing. You kind of got these out of the way in the bottom 10. So
right,
you can expect some heavy hitters in the next.
Episode. You're gonna have the top 20. There's gonna be a lot of big hitters in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice thing. Yeah. We do so much Paul stuff, and it's my hope that people can see that we're much more than just McCartney Beatles fans.
Oh, absolutely, we're
passionate about all genres of music.
Yeah,
we really are.
Exactly.
Knock. Tom's picks were more surprising. Well, if you got to know Tom, you got to know what he's into, and that's what he likes.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So thank you everybody for being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. We passed the 700 subscriber marks not too long ago. We want to keep growing as a channel, and hopefully we can do that with shows like this. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate all of you being here and giving us your picks, because that's we love to see people's picks too. So when this is over, if you want to go in the comments section, if you want to put your 30 to 21 down here in the comments, please do, and we can't wait to see what you guys.
You hated our choices or you loved our choices,
Well, that, and also give us your picks too. I would, we'd love to see what your 30 to 21 is.
Yeah, because I know sometimes you guys write them in live in the comments, but we miss them in real time. But if you guys go in and just write 30 to 21, and then we can look at them and see.
Yeah, and like I said, like we said at the beginning of the show, I'm always looking for new music that I haven't discovered yet. So if you guys can recommend something, I'll definitely give it a listen, and hopefully, it'll turn out to be something that I really enjoy.
Absolutely.
So Andy, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Thank you very much for the idea, partner, and always looking to kind of evolve. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, great. Thanks again, and we're going to see you guys next week. This was the live edition of Two Legs, Tom and Andy, and we will see you next week. Take care.